2013, protests began to occur against plans to replace Taksim Gezi Park that is located in Istanbul, Turkey. The park itself is one of the few remaining green areas located in Istanbul, but is now to be replaced by a shopping mall and possibly housing residences. The protests developed into riots when a group began occupying Taksim Square and the police tried to suppress the demonstrations occurring. This issue has become known around the globe as an act of police brutality, as citizens of Turkey are being sprayed with tear gas, hosed out, and tents are being set on fire by the local police force. The protests against the demolition of the Taskim Gezi Park has developed and since broadened beyond the development of the park, covering issues such as freedom of assembly, expression, and other issues of prohibition in Turkey set by the government. Government officials now believe that this is a driven anti-government movement, and citizens of Turkey believe that this is the beginning of a new age. Turkey is a semi-peripheral country that is located in southeastern Europe. Turkey is a parliamentary representative democracy since its foundation as a republic in 1923. Turkey has also developed a strong tradition of secularism, which means to be officially neutral in matters of religion. Though Turkey has no official religion in the country, the dominant religion of the country is Islamic. The Prime Minister, who is with the Justice and Development Party, or AKP, since 2003 is Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Turkey is also emphasized throughout the years of making it a tourist spot by advertising the culture, building shopping malls, and now has planned to make the biggest airport in Turkey, which will be located in Istanbul. Though Turkey has advanced in forms of democracy, it also comes with setbacks just like any other country. Turkey has restrictions on many media outlets ranging from radio, newspapers, broadcast television, and the internet. The main reason why the Turkish media is being criticized by its citizens and global media is their lack of coverage of the Taskim Gezi Park Riots. But with the restrictions set on the media by the government and fear of jail time, many media outlets censor themselves. Other restrictions include freedom of speech, assembly, and prohibition of selling alcohol from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. With all the restrictions set by the government, citizens and analysts have said that the protests, riots, or uprising was bound to happen. The following questions should be kept in mind as I review the articles from the different countries of press. How do the foreign and the American outlet compare in similarity and differences? What do both stories heavily report on? Are there any missing issues? And is it biased in any way? I will be analyzing 6 articles from CNN and 5 articles from Al Jazeera. Analyzing the articles, I will be looking for media concentration in certain areas of conflict or news, presentation, and sources used. The time frame of these articles are from May and the following 4 months reporting the aftermath of the riots. I collected each of these articles by searching through the media outlets engine Gezi Park protest. Al Jazeera and CNN first broke the story of the Gezi Park protest on Thursday, May 31st, the same day that it occurred. Both media outlets reported following of why Gezi Park was being occupied to prevent the construction of the shopping mall. Both stories emphasized that this event was being spread around the internet by using Facebook and Twitter, trying to inform the public as well as the world. Both media outlets described the police force that was being used on the Turkish citizens when trying to move them out of the park, such as tear gas, water cannons, and setting tents on fire. Though both stories present the event, CNN failed to portray this protest in pictures. Al Jazeera presented pictures and mentioned on how the Turkish citizens spread the word of the movement by Twitter by using the phrase #OccupyGezi, which got over 160,000 mentions on Twitter, and even print screened some of the Twitter mentions as people started to comment on the protest. They reported that some people encouraging the protest, people mentioning on live Twitter what was happening at the moment, and citizens criticizing the government. And even showed some Twitter mentions of how this is more than just a protest about the park and is growing into an anti-government movement. As for CNN reported on quotes from different protesters of different ages to different job and student occupations, ending the article with a quote on how this is a new beginning for Turkey from a protester saying, "This is an uprising, a protest against the increasing bans," said Michel Demishkvik, an activist and member of the Turkey's Green Party. Perhaps, just like we saw the Arab Spring, this will be the Turkish Spring. The next article I found was on how CNN and Al Jazeera reported on the Turkish police force cracking down on anti-government rioters, which moves from the first article about it being a peaceful protest to this escalating to an anti-government movement. Al Jazeera gave details on the force taken by police and reported that more than 100 people were injured and that one protester had to be taken to the hospital for brain surgery from a fractured skull and is currently being treated in the intensive care unit. It explained that the protests were expanding from the park to spread to the capital, Ankara, where about 5,000 people gathered in the park and with police there firing tear gas to disperse crowds trying to reach the headquarters of the ruling Justice and Development Party. It then moved on to explain how many of the protesters are angry at the Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan's Islamic-rooted government, which some Turks argue has been displaying increasingly authoritarian and uncompromising tendencies in his third successive term in office. Erdogan dismissed these protesters' demands for the park's protection, saying that the government will go ahead with the renovation plans no matter what they do. In the CNN article, it spoke about the injured as well as the uprising in Turkey's capital, but also mentioned that Turkish authorities had detained 939 people in connection to the protest. At the end of the article, CNN interviewed a local sociology professor, Erdogan Yildirim, from the Middle East Technical University in Ankara. He spoke about how Turkish citizens have united, but it seems that this protest has grown to accusations and demands that the Prime Minister change the authoritative way of running Turkey. Yildirim also gives advice to the Prime Minister if he does not return to his pro-democracy stance. This would prepare his fall in Turkish politics. Istanbul, his place of birth in politics, can bring him to his political death. In the last article I found for the comparisons of the media outlets, Al Jazeera and CNN both reported on the needs of the people and what they specifically wanted and how the government announced democratic reforms. Al Jazeera showed videos and clips of citizens speaking about the matter and even showing the police force that was taken on the protesters. As for CNN, wrote more specific details as to what the government is willing to do and what they have not changed. As the government quoted, they are to address these violations or to take any serious steps to ensure that this will not occur again in the future. As for the Prime Minister, applauded what he called the decolonization package, declaring it a historical moment for the country. The legislation lifts bans on women wearing Islamic headscarves in public institutions. However, women serving as police officers, judges, or military personnel are still not allowed to wear the headscarves. Removed the ban on teaching the Kurdish language and ended the ban on Kurdish letters. Called for expanding the definition and punishment for hate crimes committed on the basis of ethnicity or religious beliefs. Though they did do multiple changes, women activists and lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transsexual activists are upset that the reforms did not include reference to hate crimes committed on the basis of gender or sexual orientation. Both of these articles give insight to what the people want, but could have expanded more in depth on multiple examples of why the people wanted it changed. The last article I found was one on the CNN titling it, "Is Istanbul Safe for Tourists?" In the article, they take warnings of foreign politicians warning their citizens the dangers in Istanbul. The British government has warned its citizens to avoid demonstrations in Istanbul and Ankara. The U.S. State Department urges travelers to be alert for potential violence. Other nations have also considered on how the Turkish government is handling the riots, though many tourists they interviewed reported feeling neither threatened nor endangered by the protesters. Tourists interviewed also answered that they were drawn to the riots to witness and that they wanted to see the modern awkward taking place by the protesters. Still, many travel agencies have reported that many tourists are canceling their plans in fear of the riots and the police force taken, fearing that they may be caught in the crossfire. The article also reports on how Istanbul is relying on tourism because Istanbul is among the fastest growing tourism markets in the world, receiving 11.6 million international visitors in 2012. This article may seem biased as Al Jazeera did not have a similar article. The articles I have collected emphasize on the police force taken on the protesters and how the protest has grown from preserving the park to a countrywide anti-government protest wanting to reform the ideas of the Prime Minister. These articles also emphasize on how social media have played a significant role in organizing and getting the protest started and preserving it for this long. Al Jazeera was more different from CNN as they posted more pictures, media screen caps being taken from Twitter, and posting up videos of the riots and police force being taken. CNN reported more statistics of the injured and detained, but also interviewed more local people and even a professor to put his opinion on the protests being taken. Al Jazeera, being a foreign media outlet, I would say, was less biased as the situations. They reported more facts of what was happening and not taking opinions as CNN did. CNN's articles being read by a regular American citizen can be taken out of context as CNN is from a country that upholds freedom of speech, press, and assembly. The article that seemed the most biased was the one concerning about the tourist safety, as Al Jazeera posted no article that related to the matter. In the end, as of September 10th, more than 8,500 people have been injured during these protests, and a total of 7 people have lost their lives. As of July 2nd, the court decided against the reconstruction of Taskim Gezi Park, but protests are still alive across Turkey as they are the new beginning of a new age, and will continue until the government and the citizens come to an agreement that will benefit both parties.